Hey guys, Mr. Mineblox here from the Road Velocity Productions channel, and today we're going to do another train documentary, and this time we're going to talk about Walt Disney's love of trains. And first we're starting off with his backyard railroad called the Carolwood Pacific. Now, a long time ago, Walt Disney was born in Marceline, Missouri, and he worked on a farm with his dad, and he was so interested in trains, and he saw plenty of locomotives run around his area where he lived in Marceline, Missouri, and was thinking of all types of animations as a child, and used to draw them on his barn and everything, do some weird stuff. And eventually his father sold the farm and they moved to Kansas City, Missouri, and Walt Disney got a job on the Santa Fe Railroad as a newsbutch, serving drinks and cigarettes and candy to the passengers on board. And eventually Walt Disney got interested in doing animation, and so he done lots and lots of animation, and he done one called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, until that eventually became a failure, and on his way home while riding a train, his greatest creation was born, and he created Mickey Mouse. He created Mickey on his way home on the train, and that's how Mickey Mouse was born. And as he was doing animation for his life, he felt like he needed some kind of a hobby to take his mind off, to relax with. And he thought of trains, and eventually he reconnected with trains once more. And he had two animators, Ward Kimball and Ollie Johnson, who had themselves a backyard railroad. And eventually Walt Disney had the idea of having himself a backyard railroad. And so him and his wife William moved to a house at Carolwood Drive in California, and Walt Disney was planning to make a miniature railroad going around his backyard, and he called it the Carolwood Pacific Railroad, and you can see a picture of him riding his Carolwood train right here from a very long time ago. And he made his miniature steam engine, he called it the Lily Bell, named after his wife. And so he ran the miniature train around his yard, and neighbors from down the street would love to ride his train. And he also had a barn where he can repair and make new trains for his Carolwood Pacific Railroad. And eventually, when he took a trip to London with his wife, he decided to get another miniature steam engine to go on his Carolwood Pacific Road. And so he got a miniature British steam engine, and he bought it for his Carolwood Pacific Road. But little did he know that a person named Harper Groff was going all the way to London to purchase the same locomotive, until he was 6 hours too late, so yeah. But he partnered up with Disney, and they created all sorts of animation ideas, and even for a theme park. And eventually, after Walt's passing, the Carolwood Pacific Road was moved to Griffith Park in California, where the Carolwood Pacific continues today there, in Griffith Park, and sold the house at Carolwood Drive. And that's the end of the Carolwood Pacific Road history. Now time to move on to the Disneyland Railroad, the second road that Walt Disney created for his Disneyland theme park. And here we are. Now, when Walt Disney was thinking of making a theme park called Disneyland, he decided to have a narrow gauge train running around the entire park. And so when he created Disneyland, he had a 3-foot narrow gauge railroad going around his park, and he called it the Santa Fe and Disneyland Railroad, to represent as the Santa Fe Railroad itself that he used to work for as a teenager and as a butch. A news butch, I mean. And so, and also at his animation studio, he made two 3-gauge steam locomotives named the C.K. Holiday and the E.P. Ripley, which is the one you see here. And also the names C.K. Holiday and E.P. Ripley were names of famous Santa Fe Railroad presidents. And so Walt Disney made the Santa Fe and Disneyland Road to go with his Disneyland, and he drove the train around the park. And he also had the Mark Twain, which was a steamboat, and Frontierland with another train, and stuff. And that became a success. What else? Until, like, when there were updates, as Disneyland got bigger, and he had original yellow narrow gauge coaches, the Santa Fe and Disneyland Road yellow coaches, and he decided to make new ones, And he had open air ones with roofs, the shield off the sun from the passengers, and he had park facing benches where you can see the park without having to turn your head from the original coach. And the CK Holiday ran the Frontier train where there's just gondolas and flat cars and a caboose. And the gondolas just have the roofs, like I just said, and park facing benches. What else? Oh yeah, and eventually, when they renamed the railroad to just Disneyland Road today, I'm assuming after Walt's passing in 1966, they gave away the original Santa Fe and Disneyland Road yellow coaches to another road somewhere in Santa Maria, I think. I can't remember. But they kept the observation car, the Grand Canyon car, they kept it at Disneyland and painted it red, called it the Lily Bell, and made it as a VIP car, which is a private car, and it's only used for celebrities and VIPs to go in. No actual passengers can ride it. But yeah, it is cool, and you can see it at the back of the EP Ripley right there. You can see that little spot of red right there. But yeah, they painted it red and called it the Lily Bell, and just made it a VIP car, the observation coach, while the other Disneyland coaches were sold somewhere else. And the Combine is at Griffin Park, where the Carolwood Pacific Road runs today. I forgot to mention. But yeah, that's where the Combine is. While the observation car stays at Disneyland and acts as a VIP car. And they just have the gondolas as park-facing cars. And also, when Disneyland got bigger, they had to reroute some of the track going around the park. And also, they added the Grand Canyon diorama on the Disneyland Railroad, where you see a miniature version of the Grand Canyon. You go through a primeval world where the dinosaurs lived. But yeah, Walt added that, and it brought more people to the Disneyland Railroad. And he also added a monorail and an engine roundhouse where he can keep all the steam engines and cars and the monorail. And so Disneyland got bigger, and when New Orleans Square and Mickey's Toontown, all sorts of stuff were added. Now, the only two stations at Disneyland were Main Street Station and Frontierland Station. But when Disneyland got bigger, when New Orleans Square and Mickey's Toontown and all sorts of stuff like Tomorrowland were added, there were more stations where the Disneyland Railroad can stop on. And they also got 3 more engines to run on the Disneyland Railroad. I can't remember them all. I just remember that number 4 is named Ward Kimball after the animator. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that's everything about the Carolwood Pacific and the Disneyland Railroad. Let me guys know what you think. That was my history on both the Carolwood Pacific and the Disneyland Railroad, and to honor Walt Disney's love of trains. And that's the end of this train documentary. Remember to subscribe to this channel and click the bell and stuff. And if you are interested in Minecraft, then go to my main channel, Mr. Mineblox, where I do all sorts of Minecraft videos and other gaming videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.